First, we'd like to say our thoughts and prayers stay with the people in Houston and the coast and surrounding areas with the effects of Hurricane Ike. We've learned in dealing with hurricanes in the past, you never say forget it and move on, because the people that are affected so much can't forget it. They're dealing with it more today probably than they were this weekend, because they know of all the things that happened. So what you do is you try to move forward. And that's what we're doing with our players whose homes and families' homes were affected. I'm sure all of the schools and high schools in Houston and the surrounding areas are doing the same, because many of their games are canceled, not only for last week and this week. And now you're dealing with water issues and electric issues and electricity issues. So you're dealing with so many different things that we do not want to slight the fact that people are still having a lot of trouble out there. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with them. Drew Kelson and Frank Ocam came out to practice yesterday because they came in from Houston and they were just talking about all the things that are happening. So again, hope everybody's safe. You can rebuild and move forward, and thoughts and prayers will be with them. What a great weekend for the Big 12. I mean, you start looking at there are 3 teams in the top 7 in the country from the Big 12, 4 in the top 10. 5 in the top 19, I guess, top 25 with Kansas still in there. So it's a great time for the Big 12. I start looking at the offenses. I think 4 of the top 10 offenses, Missouri, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State are all in the top 5. And my gosh, Missouri's averaging 597 yards a game, Texas Tech 584. Oklahoma 556, and they're scoring 57, 54 points. Oklahoma State 546. It's hard to do that against air and against nobody. So these teams are just running up and down the field, and it's just amazing what they've been able to do offensively. But we're a combined 28-4 this season so far with 8 undefeated teams in the Big 12, and that's a great start for what we're doing. You look up last weekends, there were a lot of upsets, and that's going to start happening now. Throughout the year. So you got to be ready to play every week. Everybody's pretty good. You've got a few teams that are great, and then you've got a lot of teams that are real good, and then you got some that are good enough to beat you if you don't play well. And that's kind of what's happened throughout as you start looking at college football over the weekend. As Rice comes into town this weekend, they're a really explosive offense. They got Clements and Casey and Dillard as 3 guys to go-to guys on offense. They're talented. They can catch. You start looking at their stats. They've been phenomenal. Their scoring offense, they're averaging 40 points a game. They've got the fewest penalties of any team in the country. They're 2 per game. Their third down efficiency is number 9 in the country at about 55%. And their red zone efficiency is really, really good. They've scored 13 out of the 15 times they've been in the red zone. So you've really got to give these guys credit. They rank 20th nationally in the pass. So once again, we've got a team that throws it so well. It will be a good test for our secondary and our defense. They're averaging 430 yards a game, and as we said, right at 40 points. Chase Clements is averaging 356 yards per game as in total offense. He's 6th in the NCAA. James Casey, their big tight end, tailback, quarterback / guys, an older guy played baseball. He's averaging about 10 catches per game, and Dillard and Clements just they've combined for 37 touchdown passes, and that's 3rd best in NCAA history. So these guys will be ready to play. They'll be excited. They were 21-21 with Vanderbilt and had a couple of kicking game mistakes that gave Vanderbilt easy scores in the second half, and we know they'll be ready to play. They've been dealing with stuff in Houston, I'm sure, as I said, we've been dealing with our players. A lot of our players' homes were affected enough that it is bothersome, and same for the Rice team. But it's what we've all got to deal with. And again, we can't forget the people that are in dire straits, but we can move forward and try to continue to reach out and help the people that need the help. But we have to get ourselves ready to play.
Coach, you talk about David Bailiff and what he's done. It seems he's brought a lot more physical toughness to that Rice team in the last couple of years.
David's a really good football coach. He's a great friend of mine. I admire him. He's a man of great integrity. He's a great father, and he did amazing things down at Texas State. Took them, semifinals to a national championship year, and that's something that hadn't been done there for a long time. And you can tell a huge difference in his Rice team from last year to this year. So he's doing the same type things at Rice that he did at down at Texas State.
How do you deal with your guys from Houston knowing that their minds are kind of wandering?
Well, we are very honest. We're very direct with them and say, here's everything we know, and then we bring them in individually. We sit down and talk to them. We talk to their parents, and they want to know their parents are okay. I mean, that's fair. And they want to know about their houses. I saw a couple of houses and they're underwater. They had pictures of them that people that had gotten back into the areas have been able to show them, and that's a devastating thing for young people. And we tell them at least everybody's safe in your family, so let's see what we can do to rebuild and move forward. The NCAA's done some really good things to try to help kids and families that are in dire need at this time. So we're checking into what we can do to help. I know we've offered to help Rice if they need to come over here and practice if it's tough for them. I think this is a time that's bigger than football. It's a time you reach out and try to help, but you also know that the word family is bigger now than ever before, because you need, as a family, to reach out to the ones that are struggling and help their families get to Austin, help them stay with the kids, whatever we need to do to try to help the families.
Isn't it nice also knowing that these guys have a support group in their own team, and you get to kind of help them through that too?
It is nice that they have a support group and a family around them, because that's why we all need to reach out and make sure the families that don't have the same support are taken care of as well. I mean, that's a tough time. You think about Sally and I lost a lot of a house one time, but it was a second house. It was on the beach. We said, this is ridiculous. It's you sitting here talking about how spoiled you are when a lot of people are losing their roof. They're losing their food. They're losing their place to eat. So it affects people's lives more than we can ever imagine. They don't have enough money to rebuild, and that's where our government has to step in and help as well.
What did you tell them this last week as far as, did you tell them just forget about Arkansas, let's move on to Rice, or what is the mental part as far as?
We did. We started Rice Thursday morning early as coaches, and we got them on the practice field and talked only about Rice. And then we gave them assignments for the weekend. We wanted them to watch Kansas, South Florida on Friday night. We wanted them to see what that was like. We wanted them to see Missouri and Oklahoma. And any team that we were playing, we wanted them to try to look down the road a little bit here, because it was an open date, and see the standard that we're going to have to play to, because we've got some of the best teams in the country right now on our schedule. What number 2 and number 5 we've got on our schedule in the next month.
Coach, I know you're highly organized and you like the departments. The first part of the season is one season, second part. Because of last week's hurricane, you don't have any more off weeks. I guess 9 straight weeks. How do you have you set new goals or new departments? How are you doing that?
We have. We had the first 4 games set as a season, and now we'll take the first 2, and they're gone. They're out of here, so we won't deal with them anymore. And we'll actually take Rice and Arkansas as the second phase of that season now, where it would have been a continuation of the first 4 because we had a natural break. And then we will start Colorado, Oklahoma, Missouri as another section, and then we will go down to the open date that we have before A&M. And so we'll really divide it into 5 areas now instead of 4.
Coach, why do you like your guys to watch other games? I mean, is it just obviously they're not looking at strategy and scheme things. I mean, is it just a matter of let's kind of get an idea of what we have in store? You've always done that too.
Yes, we have. We've always done it because we don't want them to think football all weekend on the open date, but we don't want them to get too far away from it. And what we felt like is obviously Kansas is a Friday night game. It was the only game on, so it gave them a chance to look at who Kansas was on the road against a good team, project the fact that we will be going to Lawrence to play later in the year, and look at their personnel compared to ours, look at their schemes and see what they're doing, especially since we didn't play Kansas last year, and we didn't play Colorado last year, and we didn't play Missouri last year. So these kids haven't played those teams unless they were 4 or 5 year guys. So it's a good opportunity for them to start looking at a brief scouting report and looking at some personnel before we have to just get ready on a Sunday.
I know you touched on the statistics a little bit, but were you just kind of were you impressed from what you saw? Because it seemed like it was a great weekend for the Big 12, and there were just a lot of banner performances.
It's kind of bittersweet. It was a great weekend for the Big 12, and I wasn't sure I liked it. I'm sitting there watching these teams 57 points and just running up and down the field, and it doesn't look like there's a defense out there sometimes. And it was everybody. You can add Baylor to it. Everybody looked good, I thought. So it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
Mack, Chase Clement played against you as a true freshman, I guess it was 4 years ago. How much has he changed since then?
He's just more mature. He's stronger. He's about 207 pounds now. He's a great decision maker. Their offensive coordinator, Tom Herman, was a graduate assistant for us. And Tom's a super coach. We knew that when he was here, but they're just running up and down the field. They're really doing a great job moving the ball. And Jarrett's the same way. And Big Casey's fun to watch because he's probably 230 or something, and he can run it, he can catch it. But he caught a fade against Memphis for a huge play at the end of the game, I think for a touchdown. And for a guy 6'4", 230, that's hard to do.
Coach, you talked about inviting Rice here to practice. Have you heard anything as far as definite plans, what they're going through?
Now, DeLoss will work with their athletic director because we don't know enough about Houston. And I'm sure DeLoss and the University of Texas, when it comes to reaching out, are the classiest people in the country. So anything we can do to help them, we will help. I'm sure. I mean, that'll be DeLoss's decision, but I'm sure he will. What else?
Have you talked to Bayless this week about the situation down there?
No, I haven't. I know they spent the night in Nashville Saturday night because they couldn't get back, so I'm not sure. I have not talked to him today. Anything else? Yes.
As far as just preparations for your team are concerned, are there any goals or anything in specific that you wanted to carry over to this week that maybe you didn't get the chance to last week, and how was that going?
We want our team to play up to a standard. We put the little bracelet and the saying on the slogan for the year to be consistently good and get to great, and we've had some really good things happen in our first 2 weeks, and we'd like to see them keep improving, and we're going to have to with the difficulty of this schedule. And we feel like that maybe the break will help them just re-energize themselves and start over. So we do want them to start the season over and treat Rice like it's the first game of the year.
Coach, go ahead.
With such a young team, did it help at all to have that bye week to be able to teach them a little more now?
We think it helped to have the bye week this weekend, and we'd like to have it again in about 4 weeks. But we'd like to have about 3 bye weeks this year, and since we don't have them, we just got to be who we are and go play. And we've kind of told this team it is what it is, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about how old you are. Don't worry about how hot it is. Don't worry about what time you play. Don't worry about open dates. Don't worry about who you play, and just play the best you can play and grab and hang on. Because the good thing is that what a great year for Texas fans to be able to watch some super teams on our schedule. I mean, this is going to be fun down the stretch. Very difficult for us, and we're not there yet. We said we were a work in progress, and we got to get a lot better in a lot of areas. Don't have much time to do it, but that's fun. That's what coaching about, and that's what playing's about, and the Big 12's so competitive right now. That's fun for all of us, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
Coach, it seems like in the first couple of games that we've seen great things out of all 3 of the running backs that were kind of being considered going into the year. Ideally, do you like having one guy step up, or, I mean, is it a situation where, I mean, because like I said, we've seen good things out of all 3 of the guys.
I was watching SC, and they had 4 really good ones step up, so I thought they looked pretty good. So I'm not worried about who does it. I just like to have yards. We don't care how we score. We don't care who does it. We like scoring a lot, and that's what we want to do. But I don't think any of that really matters. If you've got a great one, you're always concerned that you overuse him, he gets hurt. If you've got 4 that can all play, and they're all very similar, and it is hard to separate them because of each individual quality that they bring, it means that you're probably going to be healthier as a group. And this bunch has really good chemistry. If they're fighting all the time, or one's not near as good, but you try to keep him in there for some reasons, these guys can all play. So we really don't think it makes that much difference. Fozzie got a lot of publicity out at El Paso, and he did an outstanding job. And we hope he'll be more well now that gave him another week to get away from his knee injury, and hope he can do some really good things. But if Vondrell and Chris had not been seen for the first 2 weeks, and we'd have put them in there and they'd have done that, everybody would have been excited about them. So sometimes the less you know, the better.
Okay.
Thanks, folks.